Hi there everyone, my name is G and I'll be doing week 6 of your Blast Off series. Today is your last week of this series, and I just hope you've learned a lot in these past weeks. Before we start, I'd just like to ask you a question, which is, what is one prayer that God has answered for you this past week or just recently? For me, especially this week, I was just feeling sad. I was feeling really tired. I was feeling really down, and I was also sick. So I just prayed to God and asked for joy, and I woke up feeling much better. I was feeling really joyful. I was feeling really happy, and I just couldn't help but sing praises to God. I was just feeling so much better, and I just want to thank God for that and for answering that prayer for me. And through that, I just want you to share with someone next to you, your family, your sibling, a friend of yours, like, what's one prayer that God had answered you for this week? And speaking about answering prayers, this week we'll be talking about Gideon and God's people. And this is where God had answered the prayers of Gideon and God's people, and this is found in Judges chapter 6 to 7. The story starts off with, God's people not obeying God. And this is something that we see a lot, that God's people were not obeying Him. And the consequences were that their enemies had taken the food away. And now they were very hungry. They were very, very hungry. So they prayed. They prayed to God to ask for help. And God heard their prayers and sent an angel to Gideon. This angel then said to Gideon, send a message to Gideon that God wanted him to save the hungry people. So when Gideon hears this, his reaction is to just be scared. He just gets scared. And with him being scared, he ends up going into prayer and goes and asks God in prayer to give him a sign. And this sign is basically that God should make a piece of wool wet and make the ground around it dry. And this is a very strange request. It's very strange because, he just wanted to know. He just wanted to be sure that, God, is it really you sending me to go and save these hungry people? So he wakes up the next morning and he finds that the ground is dry and the wool is wet. Can you imagine? God answered his prayer. And because of this, Gideon knew. He then knew that God really did hear him. And he decided that, God, I will go and do whatever you want me to do. I'll go and save the hungry people. So he goes and he obeys God. And the hungry people get saved. This is just to, give a message that God promises. He promises to hear our prayers. And I just want you to repeat after me so that you can really get this message. God promises to hear our prayers. And just to make sure that you heard what I said and you listened to the story, I'm just going to ask you some questions. And you could pause the video and think about it. And just know what really Gideon was going through in this story. So the first question is, what did Gideon ask God to do in his prayers? I think you know this one. You should know this one. It was a shocking thing, a very nice sign. Just the clue. It was a sign, and it included something wet. So that's just the sign. The second question is, why do you think God doesn't always say yes to our prayers, even though He promises to hear our prayers? That's just the question. You could answer between yourselves. I think I'm just going to give an answer, just a little answer that I think sometimes God wants to look out for the best of us. Sometimes we don't ask for the right things, you know, or ask according to His will. So that's just one of the things. So you could give an answer to this question to your family. Another question is, these past weeks, we've learned 6 wonderful promises from God. And if you can you just recall some of them that you've learned? And the last question is, what can you do this week to show your trust in God? For me, I think this week is just to remain joyful, just as He answered that prayer of joy for me. That, you know, He is with me, that He's taking care of me, and that He's kept me well. So I'm just going to leave you with a memory verse from this story. And this is from Psalms 65 verse 2. And it says, "You who answer prayer, to you all people will come." And this is just to say that to God, people will come because He answers our prayers. And just to go back to the message that, you know, God promises to hear our prayers. So you can go to God when you need anything, when you need to understand something, just like Gideon, and just to you know, ask God for something in your life. He answers. He promises to answer our prayers. So I just want you to have a good week ahead, and I hope you're staying safe. Miss you all, and yeah, goodbye.